Before there were cathedrals and creeds, there were sayings. Strange, beautiful, sometimes infuriating. A gospel, made not of stories, but of riddles. This gospel was found in the Egyptian desert in 1945, sealed in a jar like a spiritual time capsule. And honestly, the vibes are immaculate. It's poetic, cryptic, and often feels like Jesus is speaking in riddles just to see if we are paying attention. I'll be reading each saying, one by one, and offering quiet reflections along the way. Not to solve the riddle, but to gently decode its layers, listening for meaning rather than locking it in. Think of it less as analysis and more as a devotional echo, a response, not a conclusion. To give you a little background, this text is known as the Gospel of Thomas, a collection of 114 sayings, spoken by Yeshua. It was found in 1945 near Nag Hammadi in Egypt, written in Coptic, a language used by early Egyptian Christians. It is not a story or a biography. It is a book of teachings, short statements, and direct spiritual instructions. Thomas calls himself the twin, a symbol of the inner self, the part of us that recognizes the divine when it speaks. Many translations of this gospel exist, each with its own style. The version I am reading here is not taken from any copyrighted translation. It is a fresh, original rendering in clear, simple English based on the ancient Coptic text, the parallel Greek fragments, and standard public domain scholarly sources. This version is written so the sayings can be heard easily, without complex vocabulary. It stays close to the ancient meaning, but speaks in a way that is smooth and direct. The purpose of Thomas is not to tell a story about Yeshua, but to help the listener wake up, to recognize the kingdom within and around them in this very moment. These 113 sayings stand alone, like sparks of light. You can listen to them in order or move through them one by one, letting each saying open a door in your heart, your mind, and your deeper awareness. This is the Gospel of Thomas in clear English, with commentary added. The Gospel of the Lord according to Thomas. May your words, O Lord, remain ever upon my mind, upon my lips, and in my heart. Glory to you, O Lord. Yeshua said, whoever lives these words from the inside will not taste death. This is Christ pointing to interiority over performance. Eternal life is not earned. It is recognized. When your consciousness abides in truth, lived from the inside, death becomes only a veil you pass through, not an end you taste. Yeshua said, keep searching until you find. When you find, you will be shaken. When you are shaken, you will be amazed, and you will rule from your center. The journey from seeking to shaking to amazement is the purification of perception. The rule Christ speaks of is inner sovereignty, the still point that no external chaos can dethrone. Yeshua said, if your guides say, the kingdom is in the sky, then the birds are closer than you. If they say it is in the sea, then the fish are closer than you. The kingdom is inside you, and it is around you. When you truly know yourself, you will know you are a child of the living one. If you do not know yourself, you live in emptiness. Here you are being told, stop outsourcing God. The inner and outer worlds are two mirrors. When you recognize your divine origin, you stop wandering spiritually homeless. You become at home everywhere. Yeshua said, a person old in days can ask a child only 7 days old about the place of life, and both can live. Many who are first will become last. Many who are last will become first, and they will become one. This reverses worldly hierarchy. Spiritual maturity is not tied to age, but to openness. The 7-day-old symbolizes the fresh soul, unburdened by conditioning. Becoming one is returning to that innocence. Yeshua said, "Know what is in front of your face, and the hidden will be shown to you. For nothing hidden will stay hidden forever." The spiritual life begins with radical honesty. When you truly see your own life without avoidance, the hidden becomes illuminated. Nothing remains buried in a heart that welcomes light. His followers asked, "Do you want us to fast? How should we pray? Should we give gifts? Should we follow rules about food?" Yeshua said, "Do not lie. Do not do what you hate. Everything is seen in the light. Nothing hidden stays hidden." Christ redirects the disciples away from religious performance and toward integrity. The true fast is refusing to live divided. When your inner and outer actions match, you stand in the light. Yeshua said, "A lion eaten by a human becomes human. A human eaten by a lion becomes lion. What you let consume you, you become." This Logion speaks of what you give your attention to. What you let devour your energy becomes your identity. Feed what ennobles you. Starve what diminishes you. When the lion consumes man, the human is devoured by passions, instincts, and unbridled drives. The person falls into animal consciousness, losing divine awareness. Here, the lion becomes man, meaning the lower forces usurp the throne of the human soul. This is the curse, for man is degraded. When man consumes a lion, the higher mind integrates and sanctifies the lower instincts. Man takes the primal energy of a lion, courage, passion, will, and refines it into virtues. This is blessed, because the lower is transfigured, serving the higher self. The lion in Hermetic and alchemical symbolism often represents raw prima materia, the wild, untamed life force. To be eaten by it equals enslavement to matter, being swallowed into mortality. To eat it equals mastery of matter, assimilation of divine fire, turning it into gold. Christologically, it's the Lion of Judah. If man is consumed by the lion without grace, he is overwhelmed by the weight of divine justice, unable to bear it. But if man consumes the lion, it is like receiving Christ in the Eucharist, assimilating his divine strength into the soul. This is the blessed state. Yeshua said, "People are like a wise fisherman who cast his net into the sea. He drew it up full of small fish. Among them he found one great fish. He kept the great one and tossed the little ones away. Whoever has ears, let them hear." Discernment is the heart of spiritual life. The great fish is what nourishes your soul. The little fish are distractions. Let yourself choose depth over quantity. Yeshua said, "Look at the sower. He scattered seed. Some fell on the road, and the birds ate it. Some fell on rock, and could not root. Some fell among thorns, and were choked. Some fell on good soil, and produced a rich harvest. Whoever has ears, let them hear." This is the anatomy of spiritual receptivity. Your heart is the soil. Notice what conditions inside you allow truth to grow and what conditions choke it. Christ is teaching self-awareness, not judgment. Yeshua said, I have thrown fire upon the world, and I guard it until it shines. The fire is awakening. Christ tends it until every soul who seeks truth becomes luminous. This is the fire that purifies illusions, not the fire that harms. Yeshua said, This world is passing away. The heavens will pass away. The dead do not live. The living will not die. In the days when you ate the dead, you made it live. When you live from spirit, what will you do? Physicality is temporary. Spirit is indestructible. Eating the dead means living from ego, habit, fear. Living from spirit is tasting the eternal, even now. The disciples said, We know you will leave us. Who will lead us? Yeshua said, Go to James the Just. Heaven and earth came to be for him. James symbolizes discernment and stability. Christ is reminding you, rely on the ones who embody justice, clarity, and grounded wisdom when you feel leaderless. Yeshua asked his disciples, Compare me to something. Simon Peter said, You are like a just angel. Matthew said, You are like a wise man. Thomas said, Teacher, my mouth cannot say whom you are like. Yeshua said, I am not your teacher, because you have drunk from the spring that I keep. Then he took Thomas aside and spoke 3 words to him. When Thomas returned, they asked, What did he say to you? Thomas said, If I tell you even one, you will pick up stones to throw at me, and the fire will come from the stones and burn you. Christ is redirecting them inward. They recognize him precisely because his truth already lives within them. Thomas receives the unspeakable because truth is communicated heart to heart, not mind to mind. Yeshua said, If you fast, you create sin for yourselves. If you pray, you will be condemned. If you give, you harm your own spirit. When you travel in any land, if you are welcomed, eat what is given, heal the sick among them. What enters your mouth will not make you unclean. What comes out of your mouth, that is what makes you unclean. This is a complete reframing of purity. True purity is not dietary. It is speech, intention, and honesty. Condemnation comes from self-betrayal, not food. Yeshua said, When you see the one who was not born from woman, bow down and worship. That one is your Father. This points to the Father, the uncreated source, the boundless origin behind all things. Yeshua directs your worship to the infinite, not merely to form. Yeshua said, People think I have come to bring peace, but I bring a sword. I come to set son against father, daughter against mother. They will stand alone. They will become single ones. Christ's sword is discernment that cuts false loyalty. Awakening will cost relationships built on illusion. Standing alone means standing in truth, even when others resist it. Yeshua said, I will give you what the eye has not seen, what the ear has not heard, what the hand has not touched, what has not risen in the human heart. This is the promise of direct revelation, the inner knowing that surpasses the senses. The kingdom cannot be comprehended externally. It must be experienced. The disciples asked, "Tell us our end." Yeshua said, "Have you found the beginning? The end will be where the beginning is. Blessed is the one who stands at the beginning. They will know the end and will not taste death." To know your origin is to know your destiny. The beginning is your divine identity, the moment you were breathed forth from God. Return there, and death loses meaning. Yeshua said, "Blessed is the one who existed before coming into being." If you become students of mine and listen to these words, stones will serve you. 5 trees are in paradise for you. In summer and winter, they do not change. Whoever knows them will not taste death. Your soul precedes your flesh. The 5 trees represent unchanging spiritual realities, virtues that anchor your eternal nature. Knowing them is remembering who you were before birth. The disciples said, "Tell us about the kingdom of heaven." He said, "It is like a mustard seed, the smallest of seeds. But when it falls on prepared soil, it grows into a great tree, and birds nest in its branches." The smallest sincerity becomes the greatest transformation. Christ reveals that the kingdom grows quietly within you until others can rest in its shade. Mary asked Yeshua, "What are your disciples like?" He said, "They are like little children, living in a field that is not theirs. When the owners come, they will say, 'Give us back our field.' The children will take off clothes to escape before being caught. Whoever has ears, let them hear." We often inhabit lives shaped by others, family, culture, expectation. The clothes are identities that do not belong to you. Removing them is liberation. Yeshua is showing an image of souls who wander through a world they believe is theirs. But it is not their true homeland. They play, they build identities, they cling to roles, desires, conflicts, appearances, like children absorbed in a game. But when the owners come, this does not mean judgment. It means the true order of reality arrives. Truth, light, the actual source from which the soul came. When real presence comes near, the illusions cannot remain. The removal of the garments, the children take off their clothes to escape. In Semitic and Egyptian mysticism, garments are metaphors for identities, stories, defenses, masks, the ego costumes, the personality shell that hides the immortal spark. So the meaning is, when truth approaches, the soul must drop all coverings. It cannot hide behind identity. It must become bare, simple, transparent. Only the naked soul can pass through the presence of the real. These garments are distortions of third density. The veils, the false ownership, the illusion of control. The field is not theirs. This world, this incarnation, these conditions, they are a training ground, not the soul's ultimate home. The field is the material world. The owners are the source and the true laws of spirit. The children, the humans who forget where they came from. The return of the owners That's spiritual awakening. When the light of the kingdom draws nearer, the illusion of mine dissolves. Nothing on this plane is truly ours. Not the body, not the titles, not the fears, not the histories. Only the consciousness that listens, that remembers, is eternal. Yeshua is saying humans walk through this world wearing a costume, not just fabric, but personality roles, trauma responses, social masks, survival identities, the stories we tell ourselves, the image we project to be accepted, the version of the self that fits into the world. The clothes are the temporary identity shells of incarnation. They are not the true self. They are props. When the owners come, truth arrives. When the true presence, the source, the real, the kingdom draws near, the costumes cannot be carried into that radiance. The false layers fall off. The naked soul remains. This is why the children throw their costume to the ground. They drop the ego's clothing to avoid being caught as their illusion, and instead return to their true essence. Caught equals trapped in an identity that cannot survive the light. Escaping equals remembering who you are behind the mask. Drop the costume before life pulls it off. Return to the naked truth of your being. Wear only what is eternal. Yeshua saw infants nursing. He said, "These little ones are like those who enter the kingdom." They said, "Shall we become children?" Yeshua said, "When you make the two into one, inner becomes outer, and outer becomes inner. Upper and lower are one. Male and female are no longer divided. Then you will enter the kingdom." This is the mystical union. Inner equals outer, upper equals lower, masculine equals feminine. When the divided self becomes whole, the kingdom within opens. Yeshua said, "I will choose you, 1 from 1,000, and 2 from 10,000, and they will stand as a single one." Awakening is rare but chosen. Christ selects souls by resonance, not number. Those who respond become the single one, unified in consciousness. His disciples said, "Show us the place where you are, for we must seek it." He said, "There is a light inside a person of light, and it shines on the whole world. If it does not shine, that person is dark." You were born luminous. If the inner lamp shines, your world becomes illuminated. If it is dim, even bright things seem dark. The world reflects the condition of your heart. Yeshua said, "Love your brother like your own soul. Guard him as the apple of your eye." To love another as yourself is to recognize both of you arise from the same divine breath. Guarding him as the apple of your eye is honoring the shared spark. Yeshua said, "You see the speck in your brother's eye, but you do not see the log in your own. When you remove the log from your eye, then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's." This is not a reprimand, it is guidance. Inner work precedes outer correction. Until you see your own patterns clearly, your vision of others is distorted. Yeshua said, "If you do not fast from the world, you will not find the kingdom. If you do not keep the Sabbath as Sabbath, you will not see the Father." The world you must fast from is noise, ego, distraction. The Sabbath is not a day. It is a heart that rests in God. When your inner world becomes Sabbath, the Father becomes visible. Yeshua said, I stood in the middle of the world. I appeared in flesh to them. I found them all drunk, none of them thirsty. My soul was troubled for the children of humanity, for they are blind in their hearts, and they do not see that they came empty, and empty they will return. Humanity lives intoxicated on illusion. Christ's sorrow is compassion. He sees that most people are spiritually thirsty, but do not know what they are thirsting for. Yeshua said, if the body came from spirit, it is a wonder. But if spirit came from the body, that is a wonder of wonders. Yet I wonder at how this great wealth lives in such poverty. Your spirit, eternal, luminous, dwells in a fragile body. Christ marvels at the soul's willingness to enter such limitation. But he also reminds you, you are not the poverty, you are the wealth. Yeshua said, where there are 3 gods, they are gods. Where there are 2 or 1, I am there. When multiplicity dissolves into unity, his presence reveals itself. This is non-dual awareness, spoken simply. Yeshua said, no prophet is accepted in his own town. A doctor does not heal those who know him. Familiarity blinds perception. The closest to you may not recognize your gifts. Christ comforts every soul who feels unseen by their own circle. Yeshua said, a city built on a high hill and fortified cannot fall and cannot remain hidden. Truth that is built high on virtue, clarity, and love cannot be hidden, and it cannot be destroyed. Your spiritual foundation is your protection. Yeshua said, what you hear in one ear, declare it from the rooftops. No one lights a lamp and hides it, but sets it on a stand so that all may see its light. You are meant to shine. Your light is not a private possession, but a gift to the world. Christ urges you to be unashamed of the revelation within you. Yeshua said, if a blind person leads another blind person, both will fall into a pit. This is an invitation to inner sight. Before you follow any voice, religious, social, or cultural, ask, is this person awake? Discernment protects your path. Yeshua said, it is not possible to enter the strong man's house and take it by force unless he first binds his hands. Then he may take his goods. You must disarm the inner saboteur, the strong man, before you reclaim your spiritual inheritance. This Logion teaches inner mastery, not external battle. Yeshua said, do not worry from morning to evening and evening to morning about what you will wear. This is not about clothes. It is about identity. Stop obsessing over how you appear. The soul dressed in peace is already radiant. His disciples said, when will you appear to us? Yeshua said, when you strip yourselves without shame, take your clothes, place them under your feet like children, and trample them. Then you will see the Son of the Living One, and you will not be afraid. This is symbolic nakedness, removing every false self, until only the true soul remains. When nothing artificial covers you, You behold the living one without fear. Yeshua said, Many times you have desired to hear these words I speak, and you have no one else from whom to hear them. There will be days when you will look for me and will not find me. Christ names the hunger of the future church, the longing for direct, unfiltered truth. His saying acknowledges that spiritual droughts come, and in those hours, his words become water. Yeshua said, The Pharisees and the scholars have taken the keys of knowledge and hidden them. They themselves have not entered, and they do not allow others to enter. You, be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. Religious authorities hid the inner teachings. Christ hands those keys back to you. Wisdom plus innocence. The serpent is discernment. The dove is purity. Hold both. Yeshua said, A grapevine has been planted outside the Father. Because it is not strong, it will be pulled up by its roots and destroyed. Any belief, identity, or system rooted in fear or illusion cannot endure. Only what is planted by love remains. Christ invites you to examine your inner vineyard and keep only what bears eternal fruit. Yeshua said, Whoever has something in their hand, more will be given. Whoever has nothing, even what they have will be taken away. Christ is not speaking about possessions or wealth. He is speaking about the interior treasure, the soul that is awake, attentive, willing, open. Whoever has something in their hand means the one who carries even a small spark of sincerity, a little willingness, a little devotion, a little light. To that person, more will naturally be given. Why? Because grace rushes into open hands. Whoever has nothing refers not to poverty, but to the one who refuses to receive, the one who closes their hands, the one who guards themselves from God, out of fear, distrust, or pride. When the hands of the heart are closed, even the little good within them drains away unattended. This Logion is not punishment. It is the simple truth of spiritual life. What you welcome grows. What you neglect withers. If you hold even a small seed of devotion, he will water it. If you offer even a fragile yes, he will strengthen it. If you carry even one drop of faith, he will multiply it into a river. Christ is inviting you to keep even a little light alive, for that little light is enough for the kingdom to enter. Yeshua said, Become passers-by. A call to holy detachment. Move through the world without clinging, carrying only what is eternal. Freedom is not escape. It is non-attachment to what is not yours. Here, Yeshua speaks the path of the mystic, the wanderer, the star-born. This is the secret of non-attachment. Not the cold detachment of indifference, but the clear seeing that this world is a passageway, not a destination. To become a passerby means do not glue your identity to any temporary role. Do not cling to outcomes, praise, rejection, or illusion. Do not allow the marketplace of the world to reduce you to its measures. Walk lightly, like one who remembers they came from elsewhere. See everything as symbolic. When you have something, a spark, a calling, a remembrance, you are already walking as a passerby. You are already unhooked from the illusions that drain, and therefore the infinite can give more to you, because your hands are not clenched around false things. When you cling to nothing but the one, everything multiplies. His disciples said to him, "Who are you to say these things to us?" Jesus said, "Do you not see who I am from what I say? You have become like the Jews, who love the tree but hate its fruit, or love the fruit but hate the tree. Your life expresses your inner state. Christ invites you to cultivate the inner garden rather than judge the outer harvest." Yeshua said, "Whoever blasphemes the Father will be forgiven. Whoever blasphemes the Son will be forgiven. But whoever blasphemes the Holy Spirit will not be forgiven, neither on earth nor in heaven." The Spirit is your deepest truth. To betray the Spirit within, your conscience, your knowing, is the deepest wound. Yet even here, Christ teaches awareness, not fear. Yeshua said, "Grapes are not harvested from thorns, nor are figs picked from thistles, for they do not bear fruit. Good people bring good from the treasure within their heart. Evil people bring evil from the treasure within their heart, and they speak from what fills their heart. Do not expect love from unloving places, or truth from those who reject it. Seek nourishment where the soil is living." Yeshua said, "From Adam to John the Baptist, no one born of a woman is greater than John. Yet I say, whoever becomes a child in the kingdom will be greater than John." Christ names the lineage of seekers who prepared the way, yet he also says, the smallest awakened soul in the kingdom is greater than the greatest worldly prophet. Awakening changes everything. Yeshua said, "A person cannot ride 2 horses or stretch 2 bows. A servant cannot serve 2 masters, for they will honor one and hate the other. No one who drinks old wine wants new wine. New wine is not poured into old skins, or they will burst. Old wine is not poured into new skins, or it will spoil. A piece of old cloth is not sewn onto new cloth, for it will tear." You cannot live divided. You must choose truth over illusion, unity over fragmentation. A unified heart is the throne where Christ rests. Yeshua said, "If 2 make peace with each other in this one house, they will say to the mountain, 'Move,' and it will move." Your inner self is a house. When your thoughts, desires, and actions reconcile, you become a vessel of peace. Inner harmony precedes outer harmony. Yeshua said, "Blessed are the single ones, the chosen, for you will find the kingdom. You come from it, and you will return to it." Christ speaks of the solitary path, not loneliness, but singular devotion. Those who hear the call are gathered into oneness. Yeshua said, "If they say to you, 'Where do you come from?' say, 'We came from the light, the place where the light came into being by itself, established and revealed in their image.' If they say, 'Are you it?' say, 'We are its children, the chosen of the living Father.' If they ask, 'What is the sign of the Father in you?' say, It is motion and rest. This reveals your true origin. You are not defined by earthly lineage, but by the light that breathed you into existence. His disciples said to him, "When will the dead rest? And when will the new world come?" He said to them, "What you wait for has already come, but you do not see it." Christ is teaching that awakening is not an event in time, but a change in perception. The dead are those asleep to their own spirit, moving through life without awareness of the divine presence. Their rest comes the moment they awaken, because the restless mind becomes peaceful when it recognizes God within and around it. The new world is not a future paradise. It is the unseen spiritual realm already woven into this one, the kingdom hidden in plain sight. He is saying gently, heaven is here. The new world is here. But your eyes must learn to see it. Awakening is not waiting. It is unveiling. His disciples said to him, 24 prophets spoke in Israel, and they all spoke about you. Yeshua said, "You have ignored the living one among you, and have spoken about the dead." Christ acknowledges that spiritual truth requires a transformed mind. You cannot receive higher revelation with earthly perception. Illumination is a grace of readiness. His disciples said to him, "Is circumcision useful or not?" He said, "If it were useful, fathers would already beget children born circumcised. True circumcision is in spirit, and it is useful in every way. It is not about the body, but about consent, choice, and inner freedom. True transformation is inward, the cutting away of falseness, coercion, or inherited patterns." The disciples asked Yeshua, "Is circumcision useful or not?" He answers with a simplicity that slices through centuries of debate. If God needed the physical mark for holiness, babies would be born with it. Since they aren't, the true circumcision is of the spirit, the heart unveiled, the soul uncovered. This teaching dismantles the idea that holiness depends on altering the body. It is a direct call back to the original truth. God made nothing incomplete. No human needs to cut the body to be worthy, whole, or beloved. Beneath Yeshua's words is a deeper message. Our modern world rarely speaks out loud. Any ritual done to a child's body without consent cannot create spiritual identity. It creates a wound, physical, emotional, and ancestral. If a spiritual mark were necessary, the soul would arrive with it. Since it does not, the mark is human tradition, not divine requirement. Many men carry unspoken feelings about this: confusion, anger, violation, numbness, a sense of being altered without a voice, a sense of something taken before they could choose. This Logion validates those feelings. Yeshua's teaching says, your spirit is intact. Your body should have been left whole. Your consent should have mattered. Your value was never in a ritual. It is always in your heart. Spirit circumcision is not about flesh. It is about cutting away fear, cutting away inherited conditioning, cutting away the husks that cover the heart, exposing the soul to love, removing the veil that blocks intimacy with God. This is the only mark that has power. No knife, no ritual, no tradition, but the opening of the heart, the unveiling of the inner man, the choice that belongs to the self alone. You are always whole. You are always worthy. Nothing needed to be removed for God to love you, and if something was taken without your consent, this teaching offers healing. What was done to the body does not define the spirit. Your wholeness is not lost. Your autonomy can be reclaimed. Your worth does not depend on a mark, but on the truth that you are already beloved, already accepted, already radiant from within. Yeshua said, "Blessed are the poor, for yours is the kingdom of heaven." The poor are those free from inner clutter. An uncluttered soul has room for God. Simplicity becomes royalty. Yeshua said, "Whoever does not hate father and mother cannot be my student, and whoever does not hate brothers and sisters and carry the cross as I do will not be worthy of me." Hate here means detach from inherited identity. Christ asks you to loosen the bonds of expectation so the soul can choose God freely. Yeshua said, "Whoever has come to know the world has found only a corpse, and whoever has found a corpse, the world is not worthy of them." The world without spirit is lifeless. To know the world deeply is to see its impermanence and to turn toward what truly lives. Yeshua said, "The kingdom is like a person who has a seed. During the night, an enemy came and scattered weeds among the good seed. The person did not allow the workers to pull the weeds out, saying, 'If you do, you will pull the wheat out with them.' When harvest comes, the weeds will be obvious, and they will be gathered and burned. The kingdom grows quietly. Plant what is good, tend it gently, and trust the slow rising of grace." Yeshua said, "Blessed is the one who has suffered. They have found life." Suffering opens the heart to compassion. Christ blesses the wounded because their wounds become gateways. Yeshua said, "Look to the living one while you live, or you may die, and try to see him, and you will not be able to." Do not postpone awakening. Seek God now, in every breath, every encounter, every quiet moment. They saw a Samaritan carrying a lamb to Judea. Yeshua said to his disciples, "Why is he carrying the lamb?" They said, "So he may kill it and eat it." He said, "As long as it is alive, he will not eat it, but only after he kills it." They said, "This is true." He said, "So with you, seek for yourselves a place to rest, so that you may not become a sacrifice." The lamb symbolizes the soul. Christ invites you to lift your own soul gently, like the one who knows its worth. Some versions add, "Blessed is the lion eaten by a human, and cursed is the human eaten by a lion." To what he said to his disciples, he will not eat it while it is alive, but once he has killed it, he will eat it. In other manuscripts, this Logion links back to the same imagery of predator, prey, life, death, and inversion of power. But here is the essence. A man carries a living creature he intends to kill and consume. He won't touch it until its life force is gone. This seems simple, almost mundane, but the meaning is profound. Yeshua is pointing out, humans will not eat a creature while its spirit is still present. They will wait until the life has left the body. He is teaching that life force, the breath, the soul, the spark, is sacred. Even those who slaughter animals instinctively acknowledge this. Living essence commands respect. A creature's life is untouchable until it has passed. But the soul within it is holy. You are not meant to be consumed. This Logion is giving a metaphor for human experience. No one has the right to devour your energy while your spirit is still present. No one is meant to drain your life force, take from you without permission, consume your identity, feed on your innocence, your creativity, your essence. Only the dead are devoured, not the living. This is the protection woven into the saying. It's Yeshua's way of saying, your spirit makes you untouchable. Yeshua said, 2 will rest on a bed. 1 will die. 1 will live. Salome said, who are you that you have climbed onto my bed and eaten from my table? Yeshua said, I am the one who comes from the one who is whole. What comes from the Father is given. Salome said, I am your student. Yeshua said, when someone is whole, they will be filled with light. When someone is divided, they will be filled with darkness. 1 is taken, 1 is left. This means 2 lives can look identical externally, yet internally be worlds apart. The awakened are lifted. Yeshua said, I tell my secrets to those who are worthy of my secrets. What your right hand receives, let your left hand not know. Christ echoes his own identity within you. Let your radiance shine without hiding it to please others. Yeshua said, a rich man had much wealth. He said, I will keep my money for planting, harvesting, and filling my storehouses. But that very night he died. Whoever has ears, let them hear. Attachment binds. The tragedy is not wealth. It is clinging. The soul only ascends when hands open. Yeshua said a person was preparing a great dinner. He sent his servant to invite the guests. One said, I must tend my business. Another said, I must buy a house. Another said, I have married a wife. The servant returned and said, those you invited made excuses. The master said to the servant, go to the roads and bring whoever you find, so they may eat. Buyers and sellers will not enter my Father's places. Those too busy with worldly tasks miss divine invitation. Christ reminds you to prioritize what is eternal. Yeshua said, a person owned a vineyard. He leased it to workers so they might tend it and receive the fruit. When harvest came, he sent a servant so they would give him the fruit. They seized the servant, beat him, and almost killed him. The owner sent more servants, and the workers did the same. Finally, he sent his son. They said, this is the heir. Come, let us kill him so the inheritance will be ours. So they killed him. Whoever has ears, let them hear. Humanity tends a world not of its own. The vineyard is God's creation. Stewardship is our sacred task. Yeshua said, show me the stone that the builders rejected. That stone has become the cornerstone. The rejected stone is the inner Christ, dismissed, ignored, unseen. Yet it becomes the cornerstone. Yeshua said, whoever knows everything but lacks themselves lacks everything. You can master knowledge, but you miss your own self. Self-knowledge is the gate to God. Yeshua said, Blessed are you when you are hated and chased, for they will not find where you are. Rejection for the sake of truth is purification. Christ blesses those who choose integrity over approval. Yeshua said, "Blessed are those who have been persecuted in their heart. They have truly known the Father. Blessed are the hungry, for the belly of the one who desires will be filled." Hunger for God is itself a blessing. The soul's longing is proof of its awakening. Yeshua said, "If what you have comes from within you, what you have will save you. If what you have does not come from within you, what you do not have within will destroy you." This is one of the clearest teachings. Your inner divine spark is the key to freedom. If suppressed, it becomes your suffering. If expressed, it becomes your salvation. Yeshua said, "I will destroy this house, and no one will be able to rebuild it." Christ destroys the false house, the ego structure, so the true temple can rise. A person said to him, "Tell my brother to divide my father's possessions with me." Yeshua said, "Who made me one who divides?" He turned to his disciples and said, "I am not a divider, am I?" Release what binds you. It is not about money. It is about superiority, fear, status. Only a free heart can follow. Yeshua said, "The harvest is great, but the workers are few. Ask the Lord to send workers into the fields." Many souls thirst for truth, but few are ready to live it. Christ calls you to labor in the field of hearts. He said, "There are many around the well, but no one goes down into it." Many stand near the truth, but do not drink. Spiritual nearness is not the same as spiritual union. Yeshua said, "Many stand at the door, but only the single ones will enter the bridal chamber." The solitary one is the undivided self, the person who stands before God without masks. Yeshua said, "The kingdom is like a merchant who found a pearl. The merchant was wise. He sold all his goods and bought the single pearl." You also must seek the treasure that does not fail, the treasure that moth and worm do not destroy. True worth is everything. When you find a pearl, the divine spark, you gladly release all lesser treasures. Yeshua said, "I am the light that is over all. I am the all. The all came from me, and the all reached me. Split wood, I am there. Lift the stone, and you will find me." Christ identifies himself with the eternal Logos, the divine consciousness, through which creation shines. Yeshua said, "Why did you go out to see the wilderness? A reed shaken by the wind? A person dressed in fine clothing? Look at your rulers and your powerful ones. They wear fine clothing, and they will never know the truth." This asks, why did you incarnate? The answer, to find your true self, hidden within the field of the body. A woman from the crowd said, "Blessed is the womb that carried you, and the breasts that fed you." Yeshua said, "Blessed are those who hear the word of the Father and keep it in truth. For the womb that carried me and breasts that fed me, blessed they will be only if they hear the word of the Father." Blessed is the womb, yes, but more blessed is the one who hears and lives the truth. Obedience of the heart surpasses physical lineage. Yeshua said, "Whoever has come to know the world has found a corpse. Whoever has found a corpse, the world is not worthy of them." Christ is saying, when you truly see the world without spiritual life, its illusions, its vanity, its passing nature, you realize it is like a corpse, moving, but not alive in the eternal sense. And when you recognize this clearly, you stop belonging to the world's illusions. You belong to the living one. The awakened soul is no longer shaped by the world, and thus the world is not worthy of them. Yeshua said, "Let those who have become rich become kings, but the one who has power should renounce it." This teaching separates outer authority from inner authority and shows how dramatically different they are. Let those who have become rich kings become kings. Christ is saying, if someone rises in the world through wealth, status, influence, or leadership, let them hold that position. Let them fulfill their earthly role. There is nothing inherently wrong with worldly responsibility. Earthly kingship is part of human society, and those who rise into it may carry out good work. But then Christ turns the teaching inward. But the one who has power should renounce it. This power is not political or financial. It is the spiritual power, that deep influence, authority, and inner fire that awakens when a soul draws near to God. Christ is saying, if you have discovered true power, the power of clarity, compassion, truth, union with the divine, and influence over hearts, then you must renounce it. Why? Because spiritual power is only pure when it is free of ego. Earthly kings may sit on thrones, but spiritual ones must sit low, hidden in humility, never grasping authority for themselves. True power is given away. It flows through you, but it is not yours. A soul who clings to spiritual power loses it. A soul who renounces it becomes a vessel through which God moves freely. Christ teaches, let worldly roles continue. Let society have its kings. But you, if you are given inner power, insight, influence, or revelation, release ownership of it, so that nothing stands between your heart and the purity of the living one. This is the paradox of the kingdom. The more you renounce spiritual power, the more heaven entrusts to you. Yeshua said, "Whoever is close to me is close to the fire. Whoever is far from me is far from the kingdom." Christ's presence burns away illusions. Spiritual closeness purifies. Yeshua said, "Images are shown to people, and the light inside them is hidden in the image of the Father's light. It will be revealed, but the image will be hidden by the Father's light." Your world is shaped by your perception. What you see externally mirrors your inner state. Yeshua said, "When you see your likeness, you are happy. But when you see your images that came before you, which neither die nor appear, how much will you bear?" Seeing your divine likeness, your true nature, brings joy. Losing sight of it brings fear. Yeshua said, "Adam came from great power and great wealth, but he did not become worthy of you. For if he had been worthy, he would have not tasted death." Humanity's origin is divine. Forgetting this leads to confusion. Remembering restores dignity. Yeshua said, "Foxes have their dens, and birds have their nests, but the Son of Humanity has no place to lay his head and rest. Every creature belongs somewhere, but the Son of Man belongs in hearts, not in houses. Yeshua said, "The body of the world is a corpse, and those who love it will become like it. Whoever knows the world as a corpse, the world is not worthy of them." Christ is teaching about spiritual sight, the moment you recognize the world's illusions for what they truly are. To know the world as a corpse means you see through its false life, its noise, its grasping, its vanity, its frantic movement without true spirit. It does not mean you hate creation. It means you no longer mistake what is temporary for what is eternal. You see that the world's promises, status, attention, beauty, performance, comparison, power, have no living breath in them. They cannot nourish the soul. They cannot give life. And when your eyes open like this, when you see the world's glitter as dust and its noise as silence, Christ says, the world is not worthy of them. Why? Because once you awaken, you no longer fit the world's illusions. You no longer chase what everyone else chases. You do not bend to systems built on fear or ego. Your value is no longer measured by external scales. You carry a light too real to be held by a world still asleep. This is not superiority, it is otherness. The gentle distance that forms when your soul begins to live from a deeper realm. A person who recognizes the world as passing begins to live from what does not pass. A person who sees the world as a corpse begins to breathe the life of the spirit. And in that moment, you belong not to the world, but to the kingdom already unfolding quietly inside you. Yeshua said, "Why do you wash the outside of the cup? Do you not understand that the one who made the inside is the same one who made the outside?" When you open inwardly, guidance arrives. Christ affirms the inner teacher. Yeshua said, "Come to me, for my yoke is gentle and my rule is light, and you will find rest for yourselves." Christ's path is not heavy. The heaviness comes from resistance, not from him. They said to him, "Tell us who you are, so that we may believe in you." He said, "You examine the face of the sky and the earth, but you do not know the one who stands before you, and you do not know how to read this moment." This repeats Logion 2, emphasizing perseverance. The spiritual path rewards endurance. Yeshua said, "Seek and you will find. In the past, I did not answer the questions you asked. Now I want to give, but you do not ask. Guard your revelations. Not all truths are for every ear. Discernment protects the sacred." Yeshua said, "Do not give what is holy to the dogs, or they may throw it up onto the dung heap. Do not throw your pearls to pigs, or they may grind them to pieces." Sometimes the answer arrives when you are finally ready to hear it. Timing is part of grace. Yeshua said, "Whoever seeks will find. Whoever knocks, it will be opened." The one who knocks is welcomed. This reaffirms divine reciprocity. Every sincere seeker is met. Yeshua said, "If you have money, do not lend it at interest. Give it to those who cannot repay." This teaching is about compassion. The soul grows by giving without exploitation. Yeshua said, The kingdom is like a woman carrying a jar full of grain. The handle broke. Grain spilled behind her along the road. She did not know it. When she reached her house, she set the jar down and found it empty. Even in loss, something sacred is happening. Sometimes God works through what slips through your fingers. Yeshua said, "The kingdom is like a woman carrying a jar of leaven. She hid the leaven in the dough. The whole dough rose." Even in loss, something sacred is happening. Sometimes God works through what slips through your fingers. Even unnoticed, grace continues to work. What seems lost often nourishes in hidden ways. Yeshua said, "The Father's kingdom is like a person who wanted to kill a powerful man. He drew his sword in his own house and thrust it into the wall to see if his hand was strong. Then he killed the powerful man." This powerful man is the ego. Before transformation, you must bind the parts of you that resist God. His disciples said to him, "Your brothers and your mother are standing outside." Yeshua said, "These here who do the will of my Father are my brothers and my mother. They are the ones who will enter the kingdom of my Father." Christ expands family to include all who do God's will. Bloodline is secondary to soul line. They showed Yeshua a gold coin and said to him, "Caesar's men ask taxes of us." He said, "Give Caesar what belongs to Caesar. Give God what belongs to God, and give me what is mine." Do not confuse earthly systems with spiritual identity. You belong to the one who formed you. Yeshua said, "Whoever does not hate their father and mother as I do cannot be my student. And whoever does not love their father and mother as I do cannot be my student. My true mother gave me false life, but my true father gave me true life." Again, hate means detach from inherited limitation. To love Christ fully, you must choose Him freely. Yeshua said, "Woe to the Pharisees, for they are like a dog sleeping in a cattle trough. The dog does not eat, and it does not let the cattle eat." Hypocrisy destroys the soul. Christ urges integrity. Let your inside match your outside. Yeshua said, "Blessed is the one who knows where the thieves will enter, so they may rise and gather their strength and defend their house before they come." The robbers are intrusive thoughts, temptations, self-doubt. Vigilance protects the inner temple. They said to Yeshua, "Come and pray with us and fast." He said, "What sin have I done? Or what fault have I committed?" But when the groom leaves the bridal chamber, then they will fast. Christ says, prayer and fasting are not burdens. They are alignment practices. Do them freely, not as obligation. Yeshua said, "Whoever knows the father and mother will be called the child of a prostitute." This means, if you only know your earthly origins, you miss your divine origin. You were born of spirit. Yeshua said, "When you make the two into one, you will become children of humanity. And when you say, 'Mountain, move away,' it will move." This echoes Logion 22, the mystical union, the dissolution of inner duality. the merging of human and divine nature. Yeshua said, "The kingdom is like a shepherd who had 100 sheep. One went astray, the largest of them. He left the 99 and searched for the one until he found it. After he had labored, he said to the sheep, 'I love you more than the 99. Yeshua reveals the heart of God. The lost one matters. God goes after the wounded, the wandering, the forgotten. Yeshua said, "Whoever drinks from my mouth will become like me. I myself will become that person, and what is hidden will be revealed to them." Receiving Christ's truth makes you Christ-like. Transmission creates resemblance. Yeshua said, "The kingdom is like a person who had a treasure hidden in their field without knowing it. When they died, they left the field to their son. The son discovered the treasure and became rich. Whoever has ears, let them hear." When you discover your divine identity, you gladly reorder your entire life around it. Yeshua said, "Whoever finds the world and becomes rich in it, let them renounce the world." Christ is not condemning success or abundance. He is speaking about attachment. To find the world means to understand how it works, its systems of praise, status, validation, and achievement. To become rich in it means you know how to navigate these systems and even rise within them. But Christ warns, if the world rewards you, do not let its rewards own you. Renouncing the world means this: do not mistake temporary praise for your eternal value. Do not confuse earthly gain with spiritual fulfillment. Do not let success become your master. Christ is calling the soul to remain free, even if honored, even if prosperous, even if admired. You may move through the world, but the world must live inside you. Renunciation is not abandoning your life. It is releasing your dependence on what fades, so that your heart belongs only to the living one. Yeshua said, "The heavens and the earth will roll up before you, and whoever lives from the living one will see that none of these things truly die." Christ is revealing a profound mystery. What seems solid and permanent, the sky, the earth, the whole visible world, is only a temporary veil. When he says the heavens and earth will roll up, he means they will be seen for what they truly are: a passing stage, a divine garment, a shimmering appearance covering a deeper reality. For the soul who awakens, the entire structure of the world shifts. The outer dissolves. The inner becomes clear. What once looked absolute is revealed as changing, fragile, impermanent. But the one who lives from the living one, the source, the breath, the eternal flame, sees that nothing real can die. Form fades, bodies change, worlds transform, but life itself, the essence, the spark, the light, remains untouched. Christ is saying, wake up to the eternal beneath the temporary. Let your heart rest in what no time can touch. When you see through the world's illusions, fear dissolves. You stop clinging to form and begin to trust the presence that cannot pass away. This is the vision of the awakened, to watch the worlds shift and unfold while standing in a place that never moves. Yeshua said, "Woe to the flesh that depends on the soul. Woe to the soul that depends on the flesh." Both extremes distort you. Spirit and body must be integrated, not idolized. His disciples said to him, "When will the kingdom come?" Yeshua said, "It will not come by watching for it." They will not say, "Look here" or "Look there." The kingdom of the Father is spread out upon the earth, and people do not see it. Simon Peter said, "Make Mary leave us, for women are not worthy of life." Yeshua said, "I will guide her, so that I may make her male, so that she too may become a living spirit like you males. For every woman who makes herself male will enter the kingdom of heaven." This saying is not about gender at all. It is about transformation of the soul. Peter speaks from the old world, a world divided by status, hierarchy, and cultural limits. He represents the voice of the past, the voice of separation. Yeshua responds with the voice of the kingdom, a world where such divisions dissolve. When he says he will make Mary male, he is not speaking of the physical body. In ancient spiritual language, male symbolizes active, awakened, sovereign, inwardly strong. The soul risen into its full spiritual stature. Female in this symbolic system represents the unawakened or receptive state, the soul still waiting to realize its own inner authority. In the mystic tradition of the desert, to become male means to become whole, to become fully awakened, to claim one's divine identity, to stand in the fullness of spirit. Christ is saying, Mary too will awaken. Mary too will be sovereign. Mary too carries the breath of the living one. Mary too will stand equal in the kingdom. It is a reversal of Peter's assumption, a lifting of Mary, not a lowering. This is why Christ emphasizes every woman who makes herself male will enter the kingdom, meaning every soul, regardless of body, who rises into its inner spiritual maturity, its divine strength, its awakened consciousness, enters the fullness of life. This Logion reveals the kingdom is not male. The kingdom is not female. The kingdom is oneness. All souls are equal before the living light. And Mary, the one Peter tried to dismiss, is named as one who will reach the fullness of transformation first. This is one of the most radical, mystical, and beautiful teachings in the entire gospel. This is the final saying in the Gospel of Thomas, and in many ways, it is the unveiling of everything hidden. Peter speaks first, but he speaks from the old world, a world where people believed worth came from status, culture, and roles, a world marked by division, and Christ answers not from the old world, but from the kingdom. When he says he will make Mary male, he is using the language of ancient mystics, where male symbolized the awakened soul, strong, conscious, inwardly established, and female symbolized the soul still waiting to discover its own divine strength. Christ is not speaking of bodies, he is speaking of states of the heart. He is saying, Mary will fully awaken, Mary will stand in the same light as you, Mary bears the breath of the living one, just as much as any man. In this Logion, Yeshua restores what was discounted. He lifts Mary, not by changing her nature, but by revealing her true nature. He shows that the kingdom belongs to every soul who becomes whole, every soul who steps into its divine maturity, its clarity, its union with God. This is the teaching. The kingdom is not about gender. It is not about role. It is not about awakening. It is about inner Christ rising within the soul. Peter speaks out of habit. Christ speaks out of revelation. And with his words, he crowns Mary with spiritual dignity, affirming what the Heavenly Mother already knew. No soul is second in the kingdom. All are equal in the light. All are invited to rise. This Logion ends the gospel, not with separation, but with restoration. The last word of Thomas is the lifting of the feminine soul into her rightful radiance. The word of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. Saint Thomas, pray for us. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. If these hidden sayings touched you, if something in your heart awakened or settled into peace, I invite you to linger a little longer. You are welcome to step inside the secret library of the Adoratrix, a quiet sanctuary filled with sacred readings, ancient wisdom, devotion, and treasures gathered for your ascent. And if this offering nourished your spirit, you may comment, like, share, or subscribe, so this circle of light can grow and others seeking truth may find their way here. Your presence is a blessing. May the Adoratrix, Mother of God, Theotokos, Ever Virgin, Mediatrix of all grace, Co-Redemptrix, keep you, and may the peace of Christ rest upon you, go before you, until we meet again.